And welcome back everybody, and what I'm going to be talking about today is a JayJay's Beast Bergen. So JayJay's are a UK based company, and they're based in Brecon in South Wales. Anyone that's serving in the UK military knows Brecon really well because of the pain that you go through down there on all your courses, things like junior Brecon, senior Brecon, Pathfinder selection, SS selection, all that good stuff. Okay, so the British Army makes use of that area because of the wild areas that you've got, the bad weather and all that good stuff. But JayJay's are based down there, and they're ideally placed because there's troops going down there quite a bit on their courses and stuff like that, and they make all sorts of kits. So they make their own day sacks, webbing, Bergens, all that sort of thing. They're starting to branch out into clothing now as well, and they also sell a whole load of other makes of gear, things like Aku boots, windproofs, waterproofs, all that sort of stuff. The kit that they make themselves, then their own produced kit, is backed up by a lifetime guarantee. So they've got the confidence there to say, any of our stuff that fails and the stitching goes or whatever, then they'll replace that. So that then says that it is quality kit, and they've got the confidence to say, yeah, well, if it breaks, we'll replace it. So what I'm going to be talking about is the Beast Bergen, and that is their sort of flagship bit of kit. Really big, robust rucksack, and I'll go through it in detail, obviously. And this branches back a little bit to the video I did about the British Army's personal kit, so the kit that the soldier carries. And in that video I showed a JayJay's Bergen, and that was the Jungle Bergen that's now discontinued, and they've basically upgraded it slightly, and they've called the upgraded version the Beast Bergen. Okay then, so this rucksack here, this is the JayJay's Jungle Bergen. I've had this now for about 6 years or so. I used it during my time in 4 Para. I wish this had been out whilst I was serving as a regular soldier, but it wasn't, because as the name says on the tin, it's designed to be used in the jungle. Reason being, it's quite sort of low profile. It's not high like the PLCE Bergen. A high Bergen that's sticking up above your shoulders and especially above your head is going to catch on all sorts of vegetation and stuff as you're moving through the jungle. It's got side pouches on, these ones here, but they're quite low profile, and the reason being is they don't really stick out past your shoulders, or not much. It depends on if you've got any shoulders. So the reason being, again, is so they don't catch on the vegetation and stuff. The problem with the PLC rucksack in the jungle is you've got the big old rocket pouches on the side, and they stick out like Bulldog's Obviouses, and they catch on absolutely everything. So in particular on selection in the jungle, guys take those off the sides, and they'll just get the Bergens tailored with actually all the pouches that you see here. So this is kind of like a pre-tailored Bergen, but it's mounted on an actual external frame. Now these are great for carrying massive loads, and the other good thing about them is in a hot environment like the jungle, it creates an air gap in between the Bergen and your back, which then prevents stuff like prickly heat. So that's why this is great for use in the jungle. Okay, so what they've done is they've basically changed the design of this ever so slightly. They've taken the side pouches off, and on the Beast Bergen here, what they've done is they've put these mesh side pouches on now. Okay, so they've taken these ones off, they've put the mesh side pouches on, and then what they've also done is they've added zips, so you can add the PLC side pouches that you get with a normal Bergen. And that's the major difference really between these two rucksacks. Other than that, they're very, very similar. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this one, the Beast Bergen, in detail, and just talk about all the different features and stuff on the rucksack. So the Beast Bergen then, it is a beast. It's quite a big bit of kit. It's 125 litres in size, and it does weigh a little bit. It's 3.6 kilos in weight, and we'll get on to why that is as we go through the video. So this one's the Coyote Brown version. They obviously make it in Multicam too. This I think is a great option for people that are doing things like survival, bushcraft and all that sort of thing, because it's less military looking. Even though it is military design, it's not camouflage, so it doesn't stand out as much as a military rucksack. Going from top to bottom then, it's got a nice lid here. It's kind of nicely shaped. Okay, it's not got elastic on it, so that there's no elastic there to perish, but it's kind of shaped nicely so it kind of covers over the top as you put the lid down. On the very top of that top flap then you've got all this molly webbing, so if you wanted to you can attach an extra pouch on the top, or pouches depending on what you want to do. You could stick a carabiner through there, whatever. Then on that top flap you've got the access there with a really nice good YKK zip, really good quality there. You can see there that's not snagging or anything, and they've put a second zip there so you can open it from whichever side you want to do, and if one of them was to break you've got the backup there you could use on its own as well. And this in here, that's a nice little sized top pouch there in your top flap. On the actual front of the Bergen then, there's lots of great organisational pockets on it. So it looks a little bit reminiscent of the old Alice pack that you might be familiar with over in the States. So I'm just going to pop open the main top flap then to access all these pouches so that those straps are out of the way. This is a basher pouch here, okay? So you can get your basher or tarp, depending on what you want to call it. That's a British Army issue basher there in its pouch. And that fits in there really easily. So there's space in there to put extra bungees, pegs and all that sort of good stuff as well. There's a flap to cover it over, and nice solid Fastix buckles there. You'll notice also that on all the straps you've got these strap tidiers. So with a Velcro, tidies the straps away nicely and you haven't got those dangly straps hanging all over the place. Below that then you've got these three pouches. These two here are perfectly sized for a British Army issue water bottle, and you'll see that it's got these snow locks with the cords there and the toggles, so it'll keep any debris and stuff out. So it'll fit a British Army water bottle in there, no problem. In the other side you could put another water bottle in there, or you could put brew kit, rations, whatever. Obviously it's up to you. The centre one then is slightly bigger. Again, this would be a perfect place to put your rations, things like that. Also, just to show you sort of its capacity, this fits a sort of standard size jet ball in there too. So if that's the sort of thing you're going to use when you're out in the field, that fits in there with a little bit of room to spare actually as well. So you could even put in, say, a brew kit or even a couple of boiling bags in there on top of that as well. So that's quite a decent sized pouch. On the bottom of the rucksack, what you've got is a covered piece there, so you can actually, for parachuting, for your military free fall and stuff, and that's perfect for fitting your HAPE strap through. And then underneath these two here, you can't see them, but there's a couple of little drain holes, okay, and they're covered by these webbing bits to stop any debris from actually getting inside to ingress the Bergen. And on the bottom here, this is a reinforced panel as well, so it's more heavy duty material. Obviously that is going to make contact with the ground more than the rest of the Bergen usually. Okay, so that's the front of the rucksack. I'm just going to do up those straps there again with the strap tidies on, keeping everything nice and tidy. On the sides then, this is one of the slight changes to this rucksack over the Jungle Bergen. You've got these really decent mesh panels. So these obviously fold flat, completely flat, and then you can add side pouches on using these zips here, the PLCE rocket packs if you want. Personally, I think this is great as it is, because you can put in long items, like I've got this machete in here, but these actually expand out quite a bit. So I'll put my hand inside there, you can see how much they expand out all the way down, and you can use these to literally just stuff kit in there. So you could put in there a waterproof jacket, you could put rations, a big old water bottle, anything really. You could put a hydration bladder in there. So these are really decent, and then you've got these compression straps over the top to stabilise whatever you've got in there, maybe stop it from bouncing around, and obviously with a toggle at the top there to close it off. It's exactly the same on the other side. You've also got the old PLCE style clips there, so you could attach onto there the issued hydration pack, and again the side pouches, the rocket packs, come with those clips on as well as a secondary means of attachment over the zips as well. So it's exactly the same on the other side. You've also got this daisy chain webbing here, so you can use this to run bungees through to attach, say, roll mats, like the Marines like doing, that sort of thing, or carabiners, whatever. Going on to the back of the Bergen then. So this frame here is a really nice bit of kit. It's an American 1606 frame. This is made out of polymer. It's pretty light for an external frame actually. It's pretty light, but it's actually really hard wearing. It's been drop tested by the Americans to pretty high standards, and you know, it's really hard wearing. Now JayJay's used to have a problem with the old Jungle Bergen with this squeaking slightly. If you have a look at all this stuff here, this white sort of stuff on the actual frame, what they've done is they've solved that problem by putting on an anti-squeak spray, would you believe? That's not a joke either. So they've got this this spray that you spray on it, and it stops that from squeaking, because that was a little bit of a problem with the initial design. You've got a great lumbar pad there. This sits really nicely and comfortably against your back, and it kind of keeps the Bergen away from your back, creating that airspace. Then you've got this pad here at the top, and some really well padded shoulder straps. Okay, these are absolutely solid. You see you've got the mesh underneath there as well to help, you know, drain away any sweat a little bit. And these are nice and rigid without being too rigid. The actual way that they do up then, it's just a normal buckle there. They don't have any kind of quick release system on there. Personally, I think the quick release systems, you know, they've got their pros and their cons, but I'm happy with them just having a normal buckle on like this. And they've got a little loop on the bottom, so you can put your thumb in to just do them up nice and tightly. There isn't a chest strap on there, which I'll go on to at the end. Personally, I would have preferred a chest strap myself, but not everyone does. And there's this sort of daisy chain webbing, and as you can see, I've put in a couple of bungees there from a parachute and made that an attachment point for my hydration tube. So that's what that's on there for. And that's the outside of the Bergen covered there. Other than at the top here, you've got these two load lifter straps, and then you've got a really nice grab handle there, nice and flat. This kind of just folds down as you're walking around, as you're tabbing. It doesn't really bother the back of your neck, but it kind of stands up nice and easy, and it's really solid to be able to grab that kit, grab your rucksack and just pick it off the back of a truck or whatever. Okay, accessing the main part of the Bergen then, you're going to undo the top clips here as shown previously, and then you've got the top main flap here that opens up, and then what you've got here is a zip here. So this zip accesses the same space in the top flap that the zip does on the other side. Okay, so it's not two compartments, it's the same compartment, but what it does, it just gives you the option of, when you've got the Bergen open, being able to access it like that as opposed to having to do that. Okay, going into the main rucksack then, what you've got is you've got two cords there with these toggles. So that one opens up there, and then this one here just kind of secures the load a little bit more. So you can undo both of those, and then that accesses the main compartment there. Okay, so it's one big compartment. There's not two compartments or anything like that, like you get on some of the civilian Bergens. It's just one main compartment, and you just stuff everything inside. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out the main load out the rucksack, and there's your sort of like big compartment inside there, and it's really wide, so it's a lot wider than a PLCE Bergen, and that's what gives it its volume. So it's lost the height, but it's gained it in the width. And one thing I like about this is when you're parachuting in the military, trying to get your webbing inside your rucksack is really difficult on a PLCE Bergen. On this type, it makes it a lot easier. So one thing that's quite nice about this rucksack then, you know, like the original design was for the jungle, is you've got this mesh pocket here. Now this mesh pocket is designed to put your wet kit in for use in the jungle, or your wet or your dry kit, depending on, you know, time of day or night. So you've got two clips there, opens up. I've got a dry bag in here. This is from TRC Outdoors, really nice bit of kit there. But what you've got is a nice sort of open pouch there. You could use that for a radio, you could use it for your wet dry kit routine, or anything else really. You could put a hammock in there, whatever you wanted. But it's a nice little separated pouch there, and especially for sort of jungle routine, that's good for putting your wet kit, dry kit in. And it just clips up like so. You see there I've got a hydration bladder in there. Okay, that then goes through here, and you've got two ports that you can use for either antennas, wires, cabling, that sort of thing, or your hydration tube. So that's what's feeding through there. That comes out the top there, and then underneath the flap. That's how that works. And that's basically the main parts of the Bergen covered. So some pros and cons of the Beast Bergen then. I'll start off with the negatives first. Okay, so for me, a couple of cons that I'd say about it was, firstly, it's a little bit heavy for a rucksack. It's 3.6 kilos. You don't actually, you know, when you pick it up empty, it doesn't feel heavy, but it actually is 3.6 kilos. So it's not a lightweight rucksack, but that comes from the fact that it's got all these pouches added all over it. You've got all these heavyweight 25mm buckles. I hate the smaller buckles that you get on the air support Bergen. They used to break all the time. So for me, that's a definite. I used to get my rucksacks actually modified with these at JayJay's anyway. So because of all that extra hardware, then the weight is a little bit more than some rucksacks. But for a military rucksack, that's not particularly heavy. The other cons then, something I've already mentioned, it doesn't have a chest strap. Now, the reason why it doesn't have a chest strap is this design was actually made under from a UKSF design, okay, and they asked for it not to have that on there. Now that's so that they can get rid of it quickly off their back if they needed to. So that's why it hasn't got one. You can easily add your own version on, and I've done that to my Jungle Bergen anyway. You can get them for a couple of quid, so it doesn't matter too much. The only other con I'd say about this rucksack is there's no waist strap, and there's no actual way of adding a waist strap there anyway. Unlike, say, the Crossfire rucksacks that have got a detachable one with the little buckles on, this doesn't have it. Now the reason why that is, this is designed to fit over the top of belt kit for military, yeah? So your belt kit kind of adds or acts as your waistband anyway, really. So that's why there's not one on there. If you were using it purely in a military sense, then you wouldn't want a waist strap on it anyway, really, to be honest. So they're the only cons, a couple of really minor things there. But for the pros then, I think this is an absolutely mega bomb-proof, awesome Bergen. It's got a really good capacity, 125 litres. The quality of it is just fantastic. It's made in Europe. It's not made in Vietnam or China like a lot of gear is nowadays. So you can just tell when you pick it up and you have a look at it, things like the zips, the stitching, the buckles, everything's just top quality. The other thing I love about this rucksack is how well you can organise your kit. I mean, just look at all those pouches. These are generally the pouches that people get modified on the rucksack anyway, for going on courses and things like selection and stuff. So it's already pre-modded, so it's good to go. You've got all your external pouches for things like, you know, your poncho for me, or your bash, or whatever you want to call it. You need to keep that separate from your main compartment because it's going to be sopping wet, isn't it? You know, after a night or two in the trees, it's going to be sopping wet, so it needs to be kept separate. I prefer to keep my water separate as well, just in case there's a blowout on my water. And I love to have my brew kit and my cooker separate as well, so if you have a quick stop, you can get that out, make a brew, chuck it away without having to go into your main compartment. The mesh side pouches are also awesome. You can either have them low profile like so, or you can pack them out with a kit, you know, depending on how you're going to pack your rucksack. So all in all, I mean, I just think it's a mega awesome bit of kit. And you know, apart from, you know, one other minor point then is the cost. It's £419, so it's not a cheap rucksack. However, you get what you pay for, and as I said, everything on here is super quality, and it's going to last you a lifetime. It's got a lifetime guarantee on it anyway, so you buy this once, you've got it for the rest of your life, and you could probably sell it for pretty much not far off what you bought it for in the first place anyway. So that's my take on this rucksack here. Personally, I think it's an awesome bit of kit for any kind of military use, for bushcrafting, survival, that sort of thing. And the fact that they've made it in a neutral colour, I love it. Personally, now I'm out of the military, I wouldn't be walking around with an MTP rucksack on in the woods. It'd make my skin crawl a little bit. Some people don't mind it, but generally most soldiers, once they've left the military, you know, they don't want to be walking around with military kit on. So, great bit of kit. These are available from JayJay's. I'll put a link in the description. Anybody got any questions, comments about it, shoot them in the comment section below, and we'll be seeing you again soon. Stay prepared.